Welcome to the Social Podcast, where no discussion or debate is off limits.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's a big day. You know why? Jann Arden is back. It's been a minute, Jann. We missed you.
These chairs are so much easier to get into.
I know. Than our last chairs.
Those white things that used to swivel, I would still be getting into the chair, and the show would be ending. We remember.
Yep. We did this for you, Jann. Great to have you back.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So why don't we kick off with relationships, something a lot of us can think about, talk about, and are they actually just about good timing? Well, Macaulay Culkin and Brenda's song, they've been together since 2017, but they told Cosmopolitan that had they met 10 years earlier, they would have hated each other. They would have hated each other. Timing and relationships, Jann. What do you think?
I mean, I've had some very strange things happen in the last 20 years. I had a relationship 23 years ago, and this is even hard to talk about because I don't want to embarrass anybody that might be listening to this, although I don't think they have a television, so that's good.
Okay.
So I get this text, and it's basically, I haven't spoken in almost two decades. So, you know, do you have a chance to talk in person? Absolutely. So I get the phone call. I'm thinking, is everything okay? Did your parents die? What's going on? And the conversation went on for 20 minutes, and I'm kind of like, let's get to the point. Like, what can I help you with? What's going on? And then it was like, do you think I'm just going to say it. Is there any chance that you and I could get back together?
Oh, wow. 20 years later.
I am not kidding you. And I just thought, and I was really kind of flattered. It was a little vindicating. Everyone wants a lover to come crawling back and to want you all this time later. But I literally said, we are very different people, and I'm so sorry. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
That's hard to say.
No, but it is very, very strange. So, but I can certainly understand at different points in my life being like, and I've said this to you before, because I used to drink a lot. And I say, Cynthia, you would have hated me if you met me when I was...
I think I would have loved you, but I mean, I disagree. But I actually remember very vividly when hearing this story that when you first, I had never met you, none of us had, and you were shown a picture of what this show was going to be with the four of us. And you were like asked to be on the show, and you said, and I quote, sort of, I don't want to be on that show. That's the tight dress and big hair show. Is that correct?
She's paraphrasing, but let me tell you, Andrea, help me.
With my big hair and my tight dress, how am I going to help you?
No, but I just mean, and I mean big, your hair looks beautiful. We did
big hair.
These
She's not
girls
wrong.
Basically had tube socks on. They're early promo shots, and I mean big hair. And Melissa Grelo, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, she's calmed down over the years.
Yes. But we all go through these things. We look at old pictures and we think, wow, did I actually do that?
Am I the same person?
But I was very reticent to come on because I thought, I'm in a lumberjack coat with Doc Martens, and I was scared to go on with four really beautiful women. I didn't know what I could bring to the conversation. But I know that that's simply not true because you guys...
Because you're Jann Arden and you have a lot to bring to the table.
Anyway.
What are we talking about here?
Well, we were talking about old relationships. So, no, I said no, thank you very much, but that's very kind. And sometimes I think...
But, okay, sometimes it does work out. I mean, maybe, you never know. I think, I don't know if that chapter's done for you, but...
oh, it's done.
You know, sorry, person who has no television. I've been with Ryan, we've been married for 16 years, we've been together for 18, but when I had actually met him for the first time, a mutual friend had introduced us, I was like zero interest whatsoever.
Zero?
Zero. When I tell you zero, Cynthia, I mean zero interest.
But you always talk about how hot you find him.
Yes. And even then, it was like, yeah, he's cute, moving on. It took us a year and a half. He took my number, nothing ever happened. He never called, thank God. A year and a half later, we are at the club. We're at the club, I'm on the dance floor, and all of a sudden I look and I just went, zoom, and I saw him. I went up to him, we started talking, and we have been inseparable ever since that day.
So it was timing for you.
It was timing.
Okay.
So I will say there is something. And what was the difference?
Yeah.
First of all, he was much younger. Ryan is 4 years younger than I am. And when I had first met him, he was baby. He was 23. Like, I'm not messing with a 23-year-old when I'm 4 years older. And when I met him later, he was more mature. I was more mature. I had been through a lot of therapy after healing, after a heck of a relationship that ended. So we were different people. And then all of a sudden it was like, googly eyes. And I'll be honest, I still have googly eyes for him all these years later, so it can work.
Interesting.
It can
Listen,
work.
I think that timing is everything, because at this stage of my life, I'm dating men who have already been married. So oftentimes when on our first date or first couple of dates, I'll ask, well, what was it about your ex-wife that drew you to her? Why did you propose? And I'm expecting some wonderful story of like, it was instant chemistry. I was looking for the right person and I really knew what I wanted. And oftentimes, I'm telling you, like 80% of the time, they're just like, well, you know, it was just about that time. I figured it was time for me to get married. She seemed like a nice girl. So I proposed, and I'm sitting there going, oh my God. You'd be surprised. So many of them do not have, it wasn't this beautiful moment. It was just kind of like, yeah, I didn't want to be the old guy in the club, so I figured, you know, this is a nice girl, so let's just do this. And I'm like, okay, check, please. Right? So I think timing has a lot to do with a lot for a lot of people.
Okay, we're moving on to this. Call Her Daddy host Alex Cooper recently revealed that RuPaul was her toughest interview because she wanted so badly for RuPaul to love her, so she worked really hard at it. So this got us thinking, have you ever gone to great lengths to earn someone's love or respect?
And listen, I know exactly how she feels, because for me, it was Oprah Winfrey. I got an opportunity to interview her when they were doing the press tour for Precious. And as everybody knows, Oprah's a really big deal and a mentor of mine. And so all of a sudden now I'm like super anxious, but this is like even more anxious because on red carpets, you don't get a lot of time. You might get one question and all it takes is one PR person to be like, that's it, that's all the time you have. So I had like so many thoughts. I'm anxious, and then there are all the rules, and then they came at the night of, and they're like, listen, if you do this, if you touch her, if you breathe the wrong way, if you ask many questions, you're off the carpet indefinitely. So that added another layer of anxiety, and then she finally showed up, and I was thinking, I've got one question, so I was racking my brain, like, ask a great question. I ended up getting 4 questions in. She ended up touching my hand, which I was like, oh my God, she touched me. And it was tough because I was overthinking it so much, because when you meet someone you look up to, you're overthinking it so much. And then when I relaxed, and in that moment, she made me feel really relaxed. And then it was like, okay, I did it. And now it's forever there, and you saw it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my toughest one.
I think that's amazing. I don't even know how you actually spoke anything.
Neither do I. It was an outer body. I was like out here looking down at myself going, don't mess this up.
I can't think of anyone really bigger in the female television world, and certainly a black woman that has had so much influence than Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah, it's true.
I used to have dreams of being on her show. I don't even know, I would wake up and I was like, was I on her show? No, you were not. You were not on her show.
But you've encountered so many people, like, you know, in your life, and who you previously like idolized as a child, right?
I've been on both sides of that.
Yeah.
The one story that came to mind when the producers were talking about this was, I have a podcast with 2 amazing women, Sarah Burke and Caitlin Green. And anyway, we had a chance to speak to Naomi Klein. She just had Doppelganger come out. And I was really excited. I literally DM'd her, said, can you do the podcast? Love the book. But anyway, she came on the podcast. I feel like I really screwed it up. I was prepped, but I didn't follow through. And I still think so badly about how much I wanted to impress this academic and this woman who is such a gifted writer. And Naomi Klein, I'm so sorry. I wish I could get a redo. But yeah, it still bothers me to this day that and maybe she would say to me, it wasn't that bad, or maybe she'd say, you were terrible. But I just want everyone to know it happens. You know, sometimes you just, you know, you miss yourself. But it bugs me to this day. That bugs me.
Yep.
Yeah. Have you ever interviewed anybody where you're just like, oh, I gotta get this right?
I mean, countless times. I feel like there's been so many people I've been fans of who've come on this show. My very first interview was with Sandra Bernhardt years ago, and I feel like I totally screwed that up. She's a tough cookie, too. But I did one time in a non-professional context hit on somebody who's famous. I don't know if that counts.
Are you admitting this on television?
Yeah.
Who is it? We want a name. We want a name.
Okay, I'll tell this story quickly. Listen, I get into this is a long story, so I'm gonna have to truncate it. If you listen to my podcast, we just launched season 3, Cynthia and Josie's Unmentionables. I tell this whole story, but I'll tell you the short version. I was not doing a job like this. This was a long time ago. I was hired to be a belly dancer, which I did in my moonlighting
Oh, this is gonna be juicy.
I was hired to do it for a movie, and the movie was being directed by one Mr. Emilio Estevez. Remember from the Brat Pack back in the day? That was him. Charlie Sheen is his brother. Martin Sheen is his father. Him and his brother were both in this movie. And so the whole day, I'm belly dancing in the corner. It's supposed to be this scene in San Francisco in the 70s. And I can see Emilio's kind of looking at me. And
Well, of course he's looking at you.
I know you're half naked too in your body.
I'm like, I got Demi Moore vibes. He used to be with Demi Moore. He used to be with Paula Abdul. I thought, I can kind of do this. So I'm going to make it my aim to, like, connect. So by the end of the day, I walk right over to him, and we have a little kind of conversation. The story is very long. We end up getting each other's phone numbers. He calls me, and we start this long back and forth conversations on the phone, and I think this is on. I am going places with this. Anyways, it eventually fizzles out. But this is where it gets weird, okay? I'll admit it. Years go by, and he shows up in Toronto. And I decided, he was here for the film festival, and I decided to hunt him down. I'm married. I have a child.
Oh,
I don't know what I was thinking.
Wow,
I don't know what I was
Jason, stop watching.
I don't know, but honestly, I went up to him and made a beeline for him at this event, and I'm like, I'm Cynthia, remember me? Like, did
he remember
Did he remember?
Yes, but then somebody snapped this awkward photo.
No, Cyn, you look good there, honey.
Thanks, I'm
Oh
still
my gosh.
I'm hoping that he will come on the show at one point
Oh
so we
my
can talk about
gosh.
this. I don't
Okay,
know.
well, we're gonna post this clip and tag him right away is how we're gonna take care of this.
Let's just keep it among us.
So it turns out it's not just in your head. Your parents really do have a favorite child. A new study published in the Psychological Bulletin has revealed that eldest daughters are more likely to receive preferential treatment from mom and dad. All the firstborns are clapping. All right, so are you guys surprised by this?
Okay, so I am the firstborn of 2 girls, and you guys know I love birth order. I could talk about this stuff all day. And so this story said, right, that the firstborn girl would have preferential treatment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not happening in my house, and I'll tell you why. My sister, who's 2 years younger, she is really smart. She's a good listener. She's very well measured, steady head, steady hand. She's wise beyond her years. So, like, obviously, she is my parents' favorite. She would be my favorite if she was my daughter. And I am not that, but also parents' birth order matters. I'm a firstborn, but my dad's also a firstborn. And we have clashed like this our whole lives. And I was always the one challenging, because when you're the first, you also challenge the rules. The second one watches and says, I don't want to be in trouble like her. And so they lay back. And so God bless my parents. I've always thought my sister was the favorite. But I get it, because I was the trouble child, even though straight A student, follow the rules, all the things. But it was me and my dad like this. But we have a great relationship today. All is good. All is good. But Rosie, I know you've been the favorite since the beginning.
For me, it was interesting. It depended on what phase of our lives we're in. Sometimes my sister was the favorite, but then she went through her teen years, which were a hot dumpster fire. So then I became the favorite. But then she dated this guy that was a real idiot, and then again I became the favorite, and then she became a lawyer, and they hated me working in television. So then she became the favorite. And we would joke about it. It's like, yeah, you're mom's favorite now because, you know, you just did this or you just did that. But I'll tell you, I know for a fact that my sister is my mom's favorite, and I've made peace with that because me and my dad were like this. So I at least got one parent, so it doesn't bother me. But I do think about parents, like, listen, we naturally gravitate to people. And I can't imagine having multiple children and feeling like, I like that one, but I'm not so keen on this one. And knowing that you have to raise them and be fair and give them the same amount of love, it must be challenging. I'm not surprised by this.
Jen?
Well, my older brother was so busy committing crimes from the time he was like 12.
Are you being serious?
I'm very serious.
Oh.
The man spent almost 30 years in jail.
Oh, wow.
But it paved an easy way for me. I could have said, Mom, I'm going out with a 59-year-old unemployed father of 17 who sells heroin. Have a good time. Like, I could do no wrong. I feel like my mom loved us all the same, and she certainly showed me that with my older brother. She was so steadfast in her love for him. And we went up to the prison, like I took them every 2 or 3 weeks for 28 years. Oh. And yeah, she just loved him. My dad loved him. And that was a really great lesson for me. I hate to be so serious, but when you watch a parent walk their ethics, that for you to see out loud, it's pretty incredible, because they never judged him. They loved him as much as they loved me or my little brother. I'm obviously very much the best. But so
I think it would be hard. Like, obviously, I only have one child, but I do have a sibling, and I do feel like my parents loved us equally. Like, I really do. I can't say if they had a favorite. I certainly didn't feel that. I can imagine.
All the time it was equal?
I mean, there were times where, like my sister got pregnant when she was a teenager, and so that was the time when all my cousins were saying to me, like, oh my God, you can do anything right now, and your parents are gonna love you. But I do feel like our children, like, are out there to teach us lessons, and a lot of times you get the child that maybe is teaching you an uncomfortable lesson that you don't want
bringing
to
up your
know.
old stuff.
Exactly. And I think with you and your dad, like, I think it makes sense. I think the child that gets under our skin the most is probably the one who we're seeing some of the stuff that we don't like about ourselves reflected back.
Going deep.
Deep stuff there, Cynthia.
Okay, everybody, it's true. Listen, we don't have a lot of time, ladies, but we have to get to this because Paris Fashion Week is in full swing right now. Tons of celebrities dressed to impress. So we're going to break down some of the favorite looks that we've seen at PFW, as they say online. So Paris Fashion Week, Cynthia, your favorite look so far?
Megan Thee Stallion. Oh my God, can we just talk about
her?
So she wore this incredible coral dress. This is a Giambattista Valley dress. I love the hood. I love that thing. I don't know what it is. Is it like a flower? Is it fur? I don't know. But what's interesting is normally somebody has like a certain style they go with, and then they wear a bunch of the outfits that are kind of like that. But she showed up at another fashion event wearing this other outfit, which is, I don't know, it's in a different landscape altogether. It is this. Which
I like this too.
I mean, it just tells me that she's like having a good time. I don't know.
That's great. Okay, I know we don't have a lot of time. I'm gonna get to, if there's any blinks, my Blackpink fans who are watching. Jennie Kim from, thank you, that one applause right there. Jennie Kim was at the Chanel show. A lot of celebs showed up at the Chanel show, and she was coveted front row. And why did I pick this? She looks great because I want to wear this. That's why I picked it. She's just got an itty bitty bra on, and I love a cape. I don't care what it is. I want a cape on anything. And I think she might be ushering in the low-rise pant again.
No, ma'am.
Low-rise wide leg.
No, ma'am.
Belly
Jan, don't even bother. Nobody wants that, Jan.
No, because
I want it.
The low-rise holds your fat in. It does.
It spills over like a muffin in a tin.
No, it doesn't. If you aim it properly, you can have the band and you can have 2 rolls.
We only have a minute left. We have to get to 2
So
looks.
my choice, while we talk about our roles, is actress Gabrielle Union, who showed up in a black off-the-shoulder sheer panel dress at the Schiaparelli fashion show. She looks incredible. By the way, folks, this is what 52 looks like. This is 52. The black really doesn't crack.
What do you think?
She looks incredible.
I am so the wrong person to ask for any of this stuff, but I'm going to go Linda Carter.
Oh, Wonder Woman.
That outfit you could conceivably get away with at Costco, and that's why I've seen women in very similar outfits in Costco.
Wow.
Anyway,
I love it.
And I like Linda Carter.
That's her daughter.
That's her daughter.
Wow.
And I do like a brass
twins.
button. Like, I would wear
It's realistic. Yeah, it's realistic.
And I bet you it comes in a 12. That's all I got to say.
Subscribe to the Social Podcast so you don't miss a fiery debate. Until next time, socialites.